Hello everybody, it's Serafina and I'm here with your daily tarot insight. So before we begin, I would like to call upon the spirit of the universe that loves us unconditionally. I would like to call upon the spirits of this land, of this island, and of this ocean, and I thank them for holding the space and for their ancient wisdom. And I would like to call upon my guides, my ancestors, my team of light, and my higher self, and I thank them for their guidance and presence with this collective reading. So regarding this lunar eclipse in Scorpio that's coming up tomorrow, lunar eclipses, or the south node of the moon, where it's in Scorpio right now, both of them have to do with loss. Both of them have to do with endings, with releasing. And so I feel that many of us have already had signs, interpretations, signals of what is being asked of us to be released. And I expect that by tomorrow, or in these coming days at least, we're going to have an illumination of what that is. And it's going to be very particular to all of us, of course, because we're all weaving our own life. But what I wanted to kind of bring in is that the importance of releasing allows us to receive. So we're going to be receiving things from the North Node in Taurus with the eclipse that we had, that was started with the eclipse that we had 2 weeks ago. But in order to receive, we can't have an accumulation of things. And so this is the importance of letting things go. And it's just a kind reminder to all of us that when we are able to release things that are no longer meant to be in our energetic sphere, that is when we can truly make space for what is meant to be in our life. And that is going to bring a series of changes. And so it's important, I feel, to have like a good relationship with change. And so I was reflecting yesterday on the last card that I picked with yesterday's reading of Ganesha and achievement and our perception of achievement, and how it's important to kind of like polish our skills and work on our craft, simultaneously having a spiritual practice, so that we can weave these two, and our concept of achievement is going to be very different. And it actually reminded me of a verse that's in the book, the Bhagavad Gita, which I have here actually. And I wanted to read it to you because I come back to this verse continuously. And basically it says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So basically what this says is that you have the right to act, and you have the right to polish your skills and to cultivate the life that you want to cultivate. However, you are not entitled to the fruits of that. So that means that we are not going to be in a stance of, well, I did this, so I deserve to get that back. Because then we are demanding that life serve us in the way that we expect that life is going to serve us back. And not only that, but we are approaching our craft, our dharma, or whatever it is here that we're here to do with an expectation of a reward. And that is more coming from a place of fear than a place of love. And it says, never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. It's like, yes, you are there and you are co-creating with the universe, but ultimately you are working with a lot of other forces around you. And so even though you are an instrument and for things that are going to happen and the results of things, it is never ultimately just you. And so it's a very humbling thing. And what I really like about this passage also is that it reminds me that it's not about my ego. It's not about what I want to do. Ultimately, the important thing is that I'm putting myself out there, and I'm putting my gifts and my talents and what I'm passionate about out there, because it is ultimately going to serve the greater good, right? It's not just about me paying my bills. It's about having a higher perspective as to why I am doing things, and that's what is going to sustain me. That's going to be the thread of gold that's going to sustain me throughout all of my endeavors. When I feel like giving up, when I feel like things aren't going my way, it's going to be my North Star so that I can continue walking towards that. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that in because I do feel that it's correlated between this Scorpio-Taurus axis, right? The Taurus of receiving and doing our duties, and the Scorpio of releasing attachments, releasing expectations of how that has to come into fruition, right? Okay, so let's dig into the tarot. Beloved Spirit of the Universe, what loving guidance is there for the collective today? It's always harder to shuffle these round cards. What loving guidance is there for the collective today? We have the Knight of Swords. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have the High Priestess. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have Death. That's a beautiful Death card. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have the Six of Cups. Okay, so let's pick an oracle card to complement. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have Gratitude. Fill me with gratitude for all you give. May I be a vehicle for you wherever I go. I love that. May I be a vehicle for you wherever I go. So it's, again, you know, referring back to the being of service, of allowing ourselves to kind of be like a vessel for this, in this case, the gratitude, right? Let's pick one more oracle card. What further guidance is there for the collective today? Okay, it says expect powerful change, new moon eclipse. So technically it's a full moon eclipse, but still it's referring to eclipse season. So definitely tying it back to the Taurus new moon that we had a couple of weeks ago. So let's get into the tarot. We have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords has a great idea, has a great insight, knows something to be true. And if you look at how, you know, look at his face, he is determined to get things done. So this card can speak to two things. It can speak to us knowing that we have a conviction, knowing that we have a certain, like a truth or an idea that needs to be expressed, and not letting anything around us get in the way. Or it could show, don't be hasty. Hold your horses a little bit. But right now, what I'm feeling for this reading is more like us being a lot more chivalrous in our life, of just like continuing forward or trusting the intuitions that we have been getting. Why am I saying that? Because we have the High Priestess. This is one of my favorite cards, and I'm very happy that she appeared, actually, because I was reading about this full moon in Scorpio in a book, and it is called the Priestess moon. And I'm actually going to read a little bit from this book further down, so it's perfect that this card actually came out. But the High Priestess basically is the most intuitive card in the deck. She is able to hold polarities. She knows answers without knowing how she knows them. She can smell things from a mile away. So this is why I feel that this card in particular is one of us staying determined to what we know to be true. The Death card says that something's going to transform, something's going to mutate, something is metamorphosizing within us. Again, we have these two skulls that are coming here, so it could also represent the dualities that I was speaking about in the High Priestess. So an interesting concept of Scorpio, which I want to talk about later with this book, is that it loves to put things into dualities. And the human mind loves to do that as well. In order to understand things, we want things to be either black or to be white. And one of the beauties of life is that, yes, dualities have a function, but we learn so much more when we are able to find the middle gray areas, when we're able to understand that not everything has to be in one extreme or the other side. So I feel that that is maybe what's going to be transmuting or fixing or changing within us. It's our concept of what something has to be. We don't have to fit everything into boxes. And so that may apply to your life in any way, right? It could be regarding your health. It could be regarding your relationships. It could be regarding your work. Why do I say that? Because we have the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is, we actually got it a couple of readings ago. It's one of nostalgia. It's one of us wanting to go back and remembering how things were before. Right? But ultimately it speaks of an equal give and take emotionally. So again, it's referring to balance. If we think about three and we think about three, if we think about the six-pointed star, right? So what I'm sensing from this, oh, and we still have, this card with the gratitude, right? So what I'm interpreting from these cards is that this, what we're going through, we already have an intuitive hit as to what it is that's transforming within us, right? What it is that is mutating, that is, shedding its skin like this snake that's here. And I'm even noticing how beautiful. Look at this woman here. She's breastfeeding a baby, right? So it's saying that even in death, there's life. There's already life that's gestating within what is composting, within what is dead. And so I feel that the guidance is to allow those two sides that are so polarized to find a union in one. To be able to find that and to find like some sort of emotional balance. To go back to the heart space, because that's what, Cups is all about, emotions and balance. And this is a card of nostalgia. So what do we do when we want to go back to something? We go back to the essence of the emotion of it, right? And then we have this card with expect powerful change, new moon eclipse. So I'm going to read from this to see what insight it has. If you want affirmation that you can achieve your dreams and get the desired outcome in the situation you're asking about, then this is it. This is a card of beginnings, and there are powerful energies at work. But be prepared. It could be quite a ride, and events now could even be jarring and uncomfortable. However, any new directions you take will almost always lead somewhere better than where you are at the moment. Whatever's happening now is happening for a reason you'll appreciate later on. A new portal is opening up, and all you have to do is have the courage to forget about the past and move through it. You're being put back on the right path. There is nothing to fear. So it says, never mind the past. Life evolves every single day. Additional messages for this card. Yes, 1,000 times yes, you're being shunted towards your life purpose. Whatever is happening now is happening for your highest good. There is an important turning point in your life. New moon eclipses are among the most exciting astrological events. They herald a complete change of pace. It is as though you're headed in one direction, probably being guided by your ego, and then here comes the divine, the goddess or spirit, to turn you instead and face the direction you actually need to go. Regardless of whether or not there's a new moon eclipse happening for you when you pull this card, it's a powerful affirmation of positive turnarounds. This is great. This is great to read. So I think that the overall message for today is, first of all, let's recognize what we already have around us. Let's like truly ground ourselves in what it is that we have, because once we can do that, we can already suss out what it is that is asking to be changed, what is asking to be transpired, and we already have new life that is blooming within this powerful change, right? We already know what's going on. The High Priestess has been talking to us. She's been whispering in our ear. She's been saying, no, it's not all black. It's not all white. Here's the middle path. Let me show you. And actually, could you please continue on your path? Because you have the right information and you don't need validation from other people. So just continue forward. Continue with your message. Continue with your new paradigm, because there is emotional balance that's going to be coming. There's emotional balance that's going to be coming from the masculine, from the feminine, right? From these dual sides that we've been talking about. Okay, so to finish off, I want to pick a card from the Isis Oracle. The reason why I chose Isis is because she is a high priestess. Beloved Isis, Mother Osset, what loving guidance do you have for the collective today? What loving guidance do you have for the collective today? We have past life, present power, the many spiritual faces of you. Let's see what this card says. When the soul is growing in service to humanity, in service to the great feminine and her call that all beings be healed and free, it gathers internal resources to assist on the path. These resources include powers and gifts from other lifetimes. You are currently integrating past life abilities, and you are guided by the oracle of the past life present power to be open into shifting internally and in your experience of your own levels of power and spiritual ability. And that's amazing. So what it's making me think of is, Scorpio is also related to the 8th house in modern astrology, and the 8th house has a lot to do with karma. It has a lot to do with occult knowledge. It has to do with past lives. And so does Pluto in astrology. And so I find it perfect that this card is talking about past life talents coming into the present power for the greater good of humanity. It says, talents, abilities, and powers wish to be restored to you now from past incarnations. This will help your path. You will often be able to recognize this because you will feel some instant fascination or deep interest for a culture, philosophy, heritage, or even place on earth or beyond, which is deeply compelling. This is your intuitive recognition that a part of your soul connected with this passionate interest is being drawn into integration. At such times, there can be emotions, feelings, and even phobias or fears that temporarily arise. You may even find your tastes of food or clothing and your sleep and other habits changing. These can all be signs that a past life energy is being integrated. Once it's digested, you will feel more like yourself. This oracle brings a specific guidance that some of these past gifts from other incarnations are associated with ancient Egypt and civilizations connected to ancient Egypt. It is helpful to be conscious of any issues around the past life skills returning to you now. You will become aware of them so that you're acknowledged, accepted, and released. It may take weeks or months, or in cases, years. Also know that as wonderful as it sounds to retrieve past life power and ability, it is not always without challenge. We often need to be willing to be fluid in our understanding and experience of ourselves. We need to be open to reframing our idea of ourselves and more spiritually connected, more powerful, and more responsible for our light here on earth. So basically, it's saying that lots of us are receiving codes. We're receiving codes from our past lives, talents that we have cultivated in past lives. And now, since we have been through many we could say challenges, we could say initiations, we're now ready to receive them, because with great power comes great responsibility. And so once we're able to carry that sword, let's say, more of our ability to do these past life talents is going to come to us. So I find that perfect for this reading for this Scorpio, right? Because we're going to probably be releasing karma around these past life talents that we had, right? So many of us that have experienced past life probably as healers or as magicians, as priestesses, priests in different ancient civilizations, probably we carry a lot of karma around being attacked. And some of us burned at the stake, and just many different ways that we have been ridiculed even until today, right? So I feel that it's a purging process that's happening for lots of us. So expect powerful things to change, things to be mutating, new life gestating within us. We already know the High Priestess. We already have these intuitive hits. So pay attention to them and act on them, and there will be a lot of emotional balance. So before I end, I actually do want to read from this book. It's called Moon Phase Astrology, and I found it quite insightful, so maybe you will too. So it says that the full moon in Scorpio is called the Priestess moon. On the Scorpio full moon, we witness the moment when the cloaked one who has journeyed into the depths suddenly discovers a great truth. That when you go deep enough, you emerge into a place that is far beyond you, and powers await there. She is touched by the divine, and in her ecstasy, she lifts her arms to the night sky and swears herself to the powers that she is connected to. She becomes the priestess, and all the dark secrets that she has studied have opened to the mysteries of which she is now the keeper. So this is perfect because Scorpio, in its highest vibration, also is a keeper of secrets. It's a keeper of mysteries. It likes to delve deep into that knowledge and that wisdom that is not bestowed upon everybody, right? The Priestess is reminiscent of the High Priestess card in the tarot, who holds the scroll of hidden knowledge and sits between two pillars, one black and one white. While the pillars have Kabbalistic explanation, I have always been found that the explanation of the High Priestess does not deny any knowledge or wisdom, regardless of if others would consider it to be dark or light. She sits between them and links the lower worlds with the upper worlds, heaven and earth, spirit and flesh, and all the other dualities that people tend to create. Scorpio loves dualities as well. In fact, no one is quite as good as Scorpio as attempting to divide everything into piles of black and white, good or evil. The Priestess sits between the pillars because she has made a breakthrough that is one of the most difficult for Scorpio. Understanding that there is no great gulf between one and another, no matter which great and terrible duality it may be. She has learned that really all shades of gray and no end is any better than the other. The Priestess has been down to the darkness and up again into the light. She has dragged herself down the road deep into introspection and learned that the best way out is with the aid of deeper powers. I'm just trying to find the most important parts here. Thus she enters into the precarious longing of everyone with a personal relationship to the universe, realizing painfully that sometimes her passions get in the way of hearing the call clearly, and yet her passions are part of her, and those powers do not wish her to lose. So it says the work of the Priestess moon people is to overcome Scorpio urge to see everything in black and white. This will be a lifelong struggle, but the further they go with it, the more serene and self-possessed they will become. It is only when they can find the middle ground of grayness and be comfortable with what they can develop compassion for others and get rid of themselves and contempt. So I even pulled out some different cards of the High Priestess. So that's why I thought it was perfect that we actually got the High Priestess in our reading. We see here, she has these antlers which are connecting to the divine, and she has the 2 pillars. This is the Rider-Waite, which is what the most known one. Here she has the 2 pillars. She has pomegranates behind, and she has a scroll. Also notice how she has the moon at her feet and the water representing intuition. She has the 3 phases of the moon here, right? The pomegranates are representative of abundance. Here she is in the Thoth deck. She's bringing in these feminine curved energies and translating them into more masculine, more 3D, right? She has a camel because that refers to the Kabbalistic Beth, I think it is. I don't remember, but this is Hebrew for camel. Here we have the High Priestess in this deck. And here we have the High Priestess in this deck. Here again, we have the dualities, right? So yeah, I found that to be very beautiful because Scorpio does have this beautiful ability to be able to merge things, as I've been talking about, right? These dualities, being able to bring them into one and being able to delve into the darkness and to really question what it is that people are so afraid of in the darkness. It's just things that are unknown, but just because it's unknown, it doesn't have to be feared. And it's not always about just shining a light on the darkness. It's about learning to dance with the great mysteries of life, I find, because we're not going to be aware or conscious of everything all the time. Okay, everybody, so I hope that this was useful to you. If you enjoyed this, please comment, share, or subscribe to this channel. And if you would like a personal reading, you can always go to my personal website or just send me a message. And I wish you a very blessed eclipse in Scorpio. Bye. So I also made a video about the High Priestess some months ago, and it's on YouTube. So if you would like to check that out, I'll leave it in the comments below.